At some point in life, every human being finds themselves standing before a battlefield. Not an external one, surrounded by soldiers and armies, but an invisible field, woven with doubts, fears, and deep questions. This battlefield lies at the heart of the restless soul, the place where the greatest battles are fought, not against others, but against oneself. It is here that the Bhagavad Gita invites us to step in, not as distant readers, but as warriors of consciousness. The Bhagavad Gita, part of the majestic Indian epic Mahabharata, is more than just a sacred text. It is a detailed map of the inner journey. Its words echo ancient wisdom that transcends religions, eras, and cultures. When Arjuna, the human hero, finds himself in the field of Kurukshetra, paralyzed by duty and dilemma, he represents all of us, those who, at some point, hesitate before life's great choices. Krishna, his divine master, emerges not only as a guide but as the inner voice of the awakened soul, reminding us of cosmic order and higher purpose. But before we dive into the philosophical complexities of dharma, karma, surrender, and detachment, we must understand. The Gita does not speak of external war, but of the battle that arises when the soul is called to choose between the known and the unknown, between the comfort of inertia and the courage of rightful action. What makes the Bhagavad Gita a timeless text? Why, even millennia after its composition, do its words still resonate like bells in the temple of the mind? Because Arjuna's dilemma is the dilemma of modern humanity. When we face losses, changes, ruptures, or decisions that require renunciation and courage, we stand in our own Kurukshetra. It is in this sacred space, between fear and faith, that Krishna's voice still whispers, "Rise, warrior. You are not this body. You are not this fear. You are an eternal soul." Many come to the Gita seeking answers, but leave with more refined questions. This is the first sign of true spiritual teaching. It does not hand out ready-made solutions, but opens inner doors so that you may discover what has always been hidden within your own heart. Dharma is not a rigid concept, nor a set of externally imposed rules. It is the music that plays within each being, a unique melody that, when silenced, creates anguish, and when heard, brings peace. The purpose of life, according to the Gita, is not something to be found outside. It is something that reveals itself when we are ready to listen. The Gita does not offer shortcuts, but paths that demand discipline, clarity, and surrender. When Krishna tells Arjuna that he must fight, he is not speaking of violence. He is saying, take your place in the cosmic order. Do not run from your role, no matter how difficult it seems. In the same way, life presents us with missions that we often hesitate to accept. But dharma is that which only you can fulfill. To refuse it is to refuse your very soul. The journey we embark on today is not meant to be rushed. Each word will be a drop of wisdom, each chapter a petal slowly unfolding. You are not just learning, you are remembering. Because within every seeker lies an ancient knowledge, merely waiting to be awakened. Throughout this work, we will explore the different facets of the Gita, the inner battlefield, the call to dharma, the purpose of conscious action, the power of liberating knowledge, and the supreme surrender to the divine. All of this, not as distant concepts, but as living tools you can apply to your own life. Now, allow yourself to open your heart. Take a deep breath. Imagine yourself standing in your own Kurukshetra. What battles have you been avoiding? What decisions do you postpone out of fear or doubt? What callings have you silenced? The answer will come, not from me, not from the text, but from within you. The Bhagavad Gita does not impose, it awakens. It does not provide easy answers, it leads to self-knowledge. So I invite you to walk with me on this journey of discovery and depth. Each chapter will be a step on the sacred path, and by the end, I hope you will look within and recognize that you have always known the way. You just needed a mirror. May this teaching be a gentle light on your path. And remember, the greatest battle is the one we fight to overcome inner ignorance. When we look at the external world, it is easy to see battles, conflicts between nations, family disputes, professional struggles, and many other forms of antagonism. However, the true battlefield is not out there. It resides silently within each human being. The Bhagavad Gita, with its epic scene on the field of Kurukshetra, is a majestic metaphor for this intimate struggle, where the soul finds itself divided between duty and fear, between light and shadow. The name Kurukshetra, which literally means the field of the Kurus, the dynasty to which Arjuna belongs, can be understood as the field where the noble tendencies and the darker tendencies of the being confront one another. Arjuna, the warrior, is not only facing external enemies, he is facing his own fears and doubts. Every arrow he does not shoot, every tear he sheds, every hesitation he feels is the hesitation of the human spirit when confronted with what must be done. Often, we avoid this internal battle. We feel afraid to face painful truths, to abandon the safety of the known, to confront the shadows that dwell within us. But the Gita reminds us, conflict is inevitable. Fleeing from it only perpetuates ignorance and suffering. In the inner field, enemies do not wear armor or wield swords. They manifest as corrosive thoughts: fear, doubt, attachment, pride, envy. These are subtle forces that whisper in our ears, "You are not capable. Leave it for later. What if you fail?" These enemies are not defeated by brute force, but through discernment, self-knowledge, and courage. Arjuna trembles because he recognizes that the battle ahead is a battle against himself. Fighting against beloved relatives symbolizes facing deep attachments and illusions we maintain for emotional comfort. Krishna does not tell him to destroy, but to act with awareness and detachment. Similarly, we must face our internal enemies not with violence but with firm compassion, recognizing them, understanding them, and ultimately transcending them. Every sincere seeker reaches a moment of crisis. It is the moment when the old no longer serves, but the new has not yet revealed itself. This threshold is uncomfortable, confusing, sometimes painful. Arjuna collapses to the floor of his chariot, telling Krishna he cannot fight. This apparent surrender is, in fact, the prelude to true surrender. When we recognize that alone, we do not have all the answers. The Gita teaches us that crisis is not an end, it is a call. Suffering, doubts, and fear are disguised invitations to awaken. Like the cocoon that seems to suffocate the caterpillar but in truth prepares the wings of the butterfly, the inner battlefield is the fertile space where the soul's blossoming begins. There is a sublime moment in the Gita, the moment when everything pauses. Arjuna, trembling, sets his bow on the ground and asks for guidance. Before action comes silence. Before the arrow is shot, a moment to take a deep breath. In our lives, how often do we act impulsively without listening to this sacred pause? The inner battlefield teaches that the pause is not weakness but preparation. It is in the inner silence that Krishna speaks, and that voice can only be heard when we quiet the noise of the mind. Fear shouts, doubt whispers, but wisdom speaks in silence. We must be attentive. Each one of us stands in some way before our own Kurukshetra. The question is, will we hesitate or listen to the inner voice? Will we yield to invisible enemies or face them with compassion and courage? Krishna does not promise Arjuna that it will be easy. He does not promise external victory. He promises something far greater, the inner liberation that comes from conscious action aligned with dharma. The inner battle is not about destruction, but integration. It is not about annihilating the ego, but placing it in service of the spirit. Pause now for a moment. Close your eyes. Breathe. Ask yourself, what are my internal enemies at this moment? Fear, doubt, attachment. What have I been avoiding? What battle am I postponing? Know that, just as Krishna stood beside Arjuna, eternal wisdom stands beside you, waiting only for you to ask for guidance. The inner battlefield is not a place of defeat, but the altar where the soul rises in its purest form. We move forward together. Now we will understand Dharma, the cosmic order and the unique calling each soul receives. Until then, remain attentive to silence and open to listening. The battlefield is already before you. In the quiet space after the storm of doubts, there arises a question: what is my duty? This question, simple in appearance, holds the weight of eternity. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna introduces Arjuna and us to the concept of dharma, a principle so vast that it encompasses the cosmos and yet so intimate that it whispers in the heart of every individual. Dharma can be understood as the natural law that upholds the universe, the rhythm of the stars, the turning of the seasons, the rise and fall of tides, but it is also the law that guides our inner world, the call that beckons us toward the actions we are uniquely meant to perform. No one can escape Dharma. It exists whether acknowledged or ignored, But when recognized and embraced, it becomes the compass that orients life with clarity and purpose. Krishna tells Arjuna that acting in alignment with one's dharma, even if imperfectly, is far better than performing another's duty flawlessly. Each soul is born with a particular imprint, a combination of tendencies, skills, and lessons to learn. Ignoring this call leads to inner dissonance, confusion, and suffering. There are two dimensions of dharma: Sanatana Dharma, the universal laws of compassion, truthfulness, patience, and nonviolence, and Svadharma, one's personal duty. The Bhagavad Gita teaches that while universal dharma applies to all, Svadharma is uniquely tailored to each individual. Arjuna's personal dharma is that of a warrior, to fight for justice and protect righteousness. Even though his heart hesitates, his soul knows that evasion leads only to stagnation. For each of us, our Svadharma may be that of a teacher, a healer, an artist, a caretaker, a seeker. To walk away from it is to deny the divine purpose embedded within. Following one's dharma is not always comfortable. It requires courage, discernment, and surrender. There are moments when the path seems clouded, the heart heavy, the mind filled with doubt. But Krishna's guidance is clear. Action aligned with dharma purifies the heart and liberates the soul. Many times, the ego rebels. It clings to comfort, to familiarity, to transient pleasures. But dharma asks for integrity over convenience. Just as Arjuna is called to battle against his fears and attachments, we too are called to confront the illusions that bind us. One of the most liberating teachings of the Gita is nishkama karma, performing one's duties without attachment to the results. Act, Krishna says, but do not be enslaved by the fruits of your actions. This transforms duty into devotion, work into worship. When we act without clinging to success or fearing failure, our actions become pure offerings to the divine order. The burden lifts and the heart becomes light. We move not as doers, but as instruments of a greater harmony. Imagine a vast symphony where every instrument plays its part, not to outshine the others, but to contribute to the beauty of the whole. Dharma is that symphony. Each soul is an instrument, and when played with sincerity and detachment, it creates music that resonates far beyond the self. Walking the path of dharma does not mean a life without challenges. It means a life with direction. Storms will come, but with dharma as our compass, we will not lose our way. Close your eyes. In silence, ask yourself, what is my dharma? What gifts have I been given? What responsibilities am I called to honor? Listen not with the ears, but with the heart. The answer will not shout, it will whisper. And when that whisper arises, follow it. Even if the path is steep, even if fear trembles in your chest, step forward. For to walk in alignment with dharma is to walk in alignment with the cosmos itself. Now, we will explore the purpose of life according to the Gita, and how every action, when performed with awareness, becomes a sacred offering. Let us continue walking together, with hearts open and spirits steady. In the stillness after understanding dharma, another sacred question arises. Why am I here? The Bhagavad Gita does not answer this question with abstract philosophy alone, but with a living truth. The purpose of life is to act with awareness, to serve with love, and to awaken to the eternal self. At the heart of the Gita's teaching lies karma yoga, the practice of selfless action. Krishna urges Arjuna, and all of us, to act not out of desire or fear, but from a place of duty and devotion. Every action, no matter how small, becomes sacred when performed with pure intention and offered to the divine. Life is not merely to accumulate achievements or avoid failures. It is to transform each act, cooking a meal, tending a garden, comforting a friend, into an offering of love. Through this, we dissolve the ego and become conduits of higher purpose. True purpose is not found in controlling outcomes, but in surrendering them. Krishna's wisdom teaches that clinging to results only breeds anxiety and disappointment. When we let go of attachment to success or failure, we liberate ourselves from the chains of the ego. This surrender is not passivity, it is the highest form of engagement. It is acting with full presence, giving our best, and then releasing the outcome to the flow of cosmic intelligence. In that release, the soul finds peace. The Gita reminds us that our existence is not for ourselves alone. We are part of a vast web of life, each playing a role in the unfolding cosmic drama. Our purpose is to serve, not from obligation, but from the joy of contributing to the harmony of all beings. This service may take many forms: teaching, healing, creating, nurturing. But when offered with love and without expectation, it aligns us with the will of the universe. Service becomes worship, and life becomes a temple. Beyond action and service lies the ultimate purpose, to realize the eternal self. The Gita teaches that we are not this body, not these fleeting thoughts or emotions. We are the Atman, pure consciousness, timeless and infinite. All actions, when performed with awareness, purify the mind and prepare the heart for this realization. The purpose of life is not just to act, but to awaken. Not just to serve, but to remember who we truly are. Purpose is not found only in grand deeds, but in small, mindful moments. Washing dishes with presence, speaking words of kindness, listening without judgment. These are all expressions of sacred purpose. Every moment becomes a doorway to the divine. When we approach life this way, nothing is mundane. The ordinary becomes extraordinary, and the heart rests in joy. Pause now. Breathe deeply. Ask yourself, what am I here to offer? How can I transform my daily actions into sacred offerings? Listen to the stillness within. Whatever arises, honor it. Begin today. Serve with love, act with presence, and surrender the results. In doing so, you will not only fulfill your purpose, you will discover the eternal peace that has always dwelled within you. Now, we will explore wisdom, knowledge, and self-realization, the light that guides the seeker home. Let us continue together, step by step, toward that luminous goal. After understanding dharma and the purpose of action, the Bhagavad Gita guides us to an even deeper treasure: wisdom. Knowledge that remains intellectual is like a lamp unlit, but wisdom, when lived, illuminates the path and reveals the eternal self. Krishna teaches that true knowledge is not merely gathering information, but realizing the eternal truth within. Jnana Yoga, the path of wisdom, invites us to discern between the transient and the eternal, between illusion and reality. The body changes, emotions rise and fall, thoughts come and go, but the self remains untouched. When we realize this, fear dissolves. We are no longer bound by the fluctuations of life. We rest in the unchanging essence. Krishna speaks to Arjuna not only as a friend, but as the Guru, the remover of darkness. The Gita reminds us that knowledge passed from master to disciple carries living energy. Wisdom is not transmitted only through words, but through presence, through silence, through the heart's resonance. Each of us will meet guides along the journey, some in human form, others as moments of clarity, as whispers in solitude. To recognize and honor these guides is to open ourselves to deeper understanding. One of the Gita's most liberating teachings is the detachment from the false self. We are not these fleeting identities, not the body that ages, not the mind that doubts, not the ego that craves. By contemplating the impermanence of all forms and the eternity of consciousness, we free ourselves from unnecessary suffering. Life becomes a dance, not a burden, a play, not a prison. True knowledge expresses itself in action. The wise do not retreat from life, but engage with it fully, with clarity and compassion. They act without ego, serve without pride, and love without attachment. The Gita calls us to embody wisdom in our choices, to speak with kindness, to act with integrity, to respond with patience. Each small act becomes a reflection of the greater truth. Within every heart burns a lamp of wisdom. Often covered by layers of ignorance, it waits to be uncovered. Meditation, reflection, and self-inquiry are tools to remove these veils. As the Gita says, even the smallest spark of true knowledge can burn away vast ignorance. When we turn inward, we find that what we sought outside has always been within. Sit quietly, close your eyes, ask yourself, who am I beyond this body, beyond these thoughts? Wait in silence. The answer may not come in words, but as a gentle knowing. Honor that knowing. Walk through life not as a seeker lost in questions, but as one who carries the flame of wisdom. Now, we will explore surrender, the conscious union between the individual self and the Supreme. Continue with me, heart open, toward the horizon of liberation. After wisdom arises, the heart yearns for union. The Bhagavad Gita teaches that the culmination of knowledge, action, and devotion is surrender. a conscious offering of the limited self into the vastness of the Supreme. Krishna reveals to Arjuna that beyond knowledge and action lies the sweetness of bhakti yoga, the path of love and surrender. Devotion is not blind faith, but a deep trust in the divine order. It is releasing the ego's need to control and allowing life to flow through us with grace. When the heart is filled with love, fear dissipates. When we offer every thought, every action, every breath to the Supreme, we become vessels of light. Surrender is not weakness. It is supreme strength. It is recognizing that there is a force wiser and vaster than the individual mind. Surrender transforms struggle into trust, anxiety into peace. Krishna calls Arjuna to surrender not in defeat, but in victory, the victory over the restless ego. By letting go, we do not lose ourselves. We return to our true nature. The Gita describes the Supreme as both personal and impersonal, the formless essence and the loving presence. To surrender is to unite with that presence, to live in harmony with the cosmic rhythm. The individual self dissolves into the ocean of existence. In that dissolution, there is no loss, only expansion. We realize that we were never separate, only dreaming of isolation. Surrender is not a one-time act. It is a continuous remembrance. In joy and sorrow, in gain and loss, we remember. This too is divine. Chanting, prayer, silence, all become expressions of surrender. Each moment, a bowing of the heart before the infinite. The ego clings out of fear, the soul releases out of trust. When we let go of expectations, judgments, and rigid plans, life becomes effortless. The Gita teaches that one who has surrendered lives with lightness, untouched by worry. The heart becomes a clear sky, open and vast. Close your eyes, breathe deeply. Ask yourself, what am I holding on to that no longer serves me? Can I release it into the hands of the divine? Feel the weight lift. Feel the heart soften. In surrender, you do not fall. You rise. You do not lose. You merge. Now we will explore how this surrender leads to inner freedom and how the Gita's legacy guides us to live with peace and purpose. Let us continue step by step toward liberation. As we approach the final turn of this sacred journey, the Bhagavad Gita reveals its timelessness. Though spoken on an ancient battlefield, its wisdom echoes in the modern world, where the battles have shifted but the inner conflicts remain the same. In a world of noise, speed, and endless distraction, the Gita invites us to pause. The battlefield today may be a crowded street, a stressful workplace, or the demands of family life, but the call remains the same. Act with awareness, remain centered, and offer each moment as a sacred gesture. We can live the Gita by transforming ordinary acts into conscious offerings, driving with patience, speaking with kindness, listening with presence. Every action, when done with mindfulness, becomes a bridge between the temporal and the eternal. The concept of dharma is more relevant than ever. In a time where roles are fluid and choices abundant, the Gita teaches discernment. What is your role in this moment? What action upholds harmony rather than chaos? Living your dharma means showing up fully, not for applause or recognition, but because the cosmos itself calls you to do so. Whether you are a leader, a parent, a healer, or a quiet presence of support, your place is sacred. The noise of modern life often drowns out the whisper of the soul. The Gita reminds us that wisdom arises in silence. Moments of stillness are not empty. They are rich with guidance. Meditation, even for a few minutes each day, opens the door to clarity. In silence, we remember who we are. We reconnect to the pulse of existence that beats beneath the noise. Challenges will continue to arise. But when faced with difficulty, ask, can I trust this moment? Can I release control and flow with what is? Surrender in daily life means letting go of resistance. It means accepting both success and the greatest legacy of the Gita is freedom. Not external, but inner freedom. Freedom from fear, from doubt, from the chains of expectation. Freedom to live fully, love deeply, and let go gracefully. This freedom is not given, it is discovered. It is the pearl hidden in the depths of the heart, waiting for the seeker's courage to dive. Pause for a moment. Breathe. Ask yourself, how can I carry this wisdom into my daily life? What small act can become sacred today? Let the answer arise gently. Then, live it. Be the embodiment of stillness in motion, of wisdom in action, of silence in speech. Now we will tie these threads together, leaving you with a lasting reflection and an invitation to continue this journey of self-discovery and inner peace. Let us step into that final space together. As we arrive at the final step of this journey together, pause, breathe. Allow the teachings of the Bhagavad Gita to settle gently into your heart, like ripples calming upon a still lake. Throughout these chapters, we have walked the battlefield of doubt, stood at the crossroads of dharma, embraced the purpose of action, lit the lamp of wisdom, surrendered the small self to the infinite, and learned how these ancient truths breathe life into our modern world. The Gita is not just scripture, it is a mirror. It reflects your hesitation and your courage, your confusion and your clarity, your ego and your soul. It whispers to each of us, you are more than you believe. You are not alone in your struggle. The path is within you. In moments of despair, the Gita becomes a friend. In times of triumph, it teaches humility. When we feel lost, it becomes a compass. And when we feel complete, it reminds us, there is always deeper peace, wider love, and higher truth. These teachings are not to be left on the page. They are living instructions. Practice silence each day, even if for a moment. Offer your actions selflessly, no matter how small. Surrender outcomes with trust, even when fear arises. Let kindness be your language, patience your posture, and presence your constant companion. In this way, you do not merely learn the Gita, you become its living expression. Close your eyes once more. Ask yourself gently, what have I learned about myself on this journey? What one change can I make today to honor this wisdom? The answer may come softly. Trust it. Write it down. Begin. The Gita's wisdom is inexhaustible. Each reading reveals new depths. I invite you to return to these teachings again and again. Let them be your wellspring of clarity in chaos, your light in confusion, your peace in storms. And now, dear seeker, I ask you, how will you bring this wisdom into your daily life? Share with me in the comments below. Let your reflection inspire others on their path. And if this journey touched your heart, do not forget to subscribe, so that we may continue walking together through the eternal landscapes of wisdom. May your steps be steady, your heart be light, and your spirit forever guided by the whisper of the Gita.